like to welcome you to Kane, the black cherry capital of the world.
This school year, over 80 students from the Kane Middle School worked in teams to write, videotape, and edit their own stories about the Kane area. They worked with teachers and volunteers who served as mentors to produce segments about their world from their point of view. It's Our Town Kane, the Kids Cut. Funding for Our Town Kane, the Kids Cut, was provided by AHUG, the Allegheny Hardwood Utilization Group, and its local member companies, promoting forest management principles to provide for wildlife, recreation, and wood products for the whole community. From Kane Community Hospital, a plane tree hospital serving McKean, Elk, Forest, and Warren counties with personal, professional, and progressive health care. Kane Community Hospital is proud to be a part of Our Town Kane, the Kids Cut. Additional funding was provided by grants from PSEA, the Pennsylvania State Education Association, the Kane Area Teachers Association, and the Cleveland Endowment, and by the annual financial support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tasha Mattis.
I'm Shirley Temple. And I'm Allison Puzzateri. Traditionally, in Kane, October begins and ends with a parade.
We start with the homecoming parade.
And end with the Halloween parade.
I'm here at Ham Dam parking lot where the Kane Homecoming Parade is assembling. The parade will process through town and end up at the high school, where the Wolves will take on the Johnsonburg Rams. The homecoming queen will be crowned at halftime.
Good luck, Wolves! We're here back at Ham Dam, this time for the Halloween parade. Students from grades kindergarten through 5 will be participating. What are you being for Halloween?
A soccer ball, a gumball bag, a shooting star, a hippie.
What about you? What about you?
An angel, Einstein.
Some of our favorites were the Leaf Girl and the Backwards Man. From the 5th grade down to kindergarten, there were many kids marching in the Halloween parade. Some costumes were spooky, some were funny, and all were creative. They marched down to the elementary school where the Kane Volunteer Fire Department handed out candy bars. This is Shirley Temple saying Happy Halloween from Freely Street in Kane, Pennsylvania.
Hi, my name is Nia Graham, and these are my friends Katie Danielson and Michael Airgood. We are going to visit the Rocket Ridge Apple Orchard and the owners Bill and Sherry Jones. Please join us.
Our orchard is 17 years old. We planted every tree. We have about 40 acres, but we only have about 8 acres of orchard. There's about 3,500 apple trees up there. They're all very small trees. They're not big trees like you see in older orchards. It's a sort of more of a high-tech orchard.
After the apples are picked from the trees, they go through the sorter. First, they move down the conveyor belt to the washer. Once cleaned, the apples dry off and move down the conveyor belt again. This time, the smaller ones fall through the wire grate. The pickers do the final sorting. The smaller apples that fall through the grate are used for cider making. One of the pickers dumps crates of apples through the chopper, and Mrs. Jones stacks the flats. Mr. Jones pulls the flats to the press. From here, the cider flows into the pasteurizer. Another thing the Joneses do is give orchard tours to local elementary school students. In addition to teaching the students about apple trees, Mr. and Mrs. Jones let these students from Kane's Chestnut Street Elementary School pick apples from the orchard. The students returned from the fields and rode back to school as satisfied customers from the Rocky Ridge Apple Orchard.
My name is Cassie Doherty. My teammates are Sarah Christian and Sarah Gelati. We are at the Kane Manor in Kane, Pennsylvania. Here is the Kane Manor. It was to be the home of Kane's founder, Thomas L. Kane.
Hi, I'm Cassie Doherty from the Kane Middle School working on the Our Town Kane Project. And this is Mrs. Joyce Bennick. Do you like working at the Manor?
I love working at the Manor. It gives me an opportunity to meet people from all over the world, and it's really a privilege to work in the house because of all of its history.
Who built the Manor and why?
Dr. Kane had the house built, Dr. Elizabeth Kane. She moved in there after the original house burnt down, and it was built in 1896.
Did General Kane live there?
Actually, General Kane died before the house was finished.
Thank you very much.
This is a copy of Thomas L. Kane's will, which still governs part of our town. This is the trail that leads into the woods behind the manor. Sites along the trail include a pond and landmarks of eras gone by. The inscription on one of the main fireplaces reads, "Life is like an iron. Use it, it wears away. Use it not, it rusts away."
I'm Sarah Christian, and this is John Marconi. So, John, why are you restoring the depot?
Well, the depot is a landmark for our town, and it's a real unique building. We decided that the depot needed to be preserved, so our main goal right from the beginning was to preserve the building. Hopefully, this building will be used. It'll be used by different groups in the community. Our main goal, the depot board, is that the building be used a lot. Right now, we're not at that stage, but that's our goal.
Hi, I'm Sarah Gelati. I'm with the WPSX Our Town Kane team, and this is Chuck Krause. He's with the Kane Depot Preservation Society. So, Chuck, when was the depot first built?
To the best of our knowledge, this depot was built in 1864. Kane as a community was created in 1864. The railroad that runs through here from Harrisburg on up to Erie was completed in 1864, and to the best of our knowledge, this is the original depot built by that railroad. And it was a fairly big building for its time because as a very tiny little town, most everything else was frame. This is brick.
Hello, my name is Brett Morgan, and this is my partner Mike Park. We taped Kinzu Bridge State Park.
This park was started up on August 12, 1963 at 2:30. Governor Scranton signed the bill to make this a state park. We have 316 acres in this park. We have a picnic area, and we have a beautiful walking trail and a beautiful viaduct here. The first viaduct was built in 1882. It was made out of tubular iron, weighed 3,105,000 pounds. The piers were 35 feet in the ground, 16 feet high. There's 110 piers across with 7,000 cubic yards of sandstone in it. In 1900, they had to replace it with heavier steel because they went to 35,000 pounds per axle on the train. This new structure here weighs 6,715,000 pounds. That's 3,300.5 tons. There's 37 miles of rivets in it. That's 894,776 rivets, 2.62 inches long. There's 2,067 ties. They're 9 by 12 by 16 feet long. They weigh 1,400 pounds apiece. There's 4,137 tie plates, 10,315 spikes. There's 140,000 pounds of track on this structure. Like I said, it's 18 feet 3 inches wide, 2,100 feet long, 301 feet high. That's right to the deck. And 1 foot above the railing is 305 feet 6 inches. That's the same as the Statue of Liberty, 305 feet 6 inches. We have a festival here every year. It's the 16th and 17th of September. The reason we have to have it early, we're so busy in the park the rest of the year. That's our busy time of the year because the leaves changing. But we have crafts and we have food vendors and everything else. And this has been going on for 7 years. It's run by the Kinzu Bridge Foundation. That's who runs this organization. But it's to help raise money for the park and try to put something else into the park. That's the purpose of it.
In the lower part of the park, there's an old train car, which has been turned into a concession stand. Visitors to the park can grab a hot cup of coffee, get a bite to eat, and buy souvenirs while they await the arrival of the Kane and Knox Railroad excursion train. The steam engine pulls up to 15 cars full of tourists from June through October. October is by far the busiest month because thousands ride the train to see the brilliantly colored autumn leaves. The longest trip goes from Marionville to the Kinzu Bridge and back. This 96-mile excursion lasts about 8 hours. For a shorter ride, visitors can board the train in Kane for a 32-mile round trip. Passengers who don't want to cross the bridge on the train may get off at the concession stand. More adventurous folks ride the train over the bridge and may unload on the other side for about a half an hour of picture taking. The engine then turns around, collects its passengers, and chugs back across the Kinzu Viaduct. It picks up those who didn't want to cross the bridge on the train, then slowly puffs away through the scenic woodlands.
Hi, I'm Mary Sirianni, and these are my partners Dane Peterson and Luke Wahlberg. We're the WPSX video team, and we videotape the Selborne Project.
The Selborne Project was created by English naturalist Gilbert White and named for his hometown of Selborne, England. This project in Kane is a multidisciplinary opportunity to learn about a square kilometer of our town. 7th graders have 3 outside events with area speakers and walks around the square kilometer. 34 community members spoke and assisted with the Selborne Project. They shared stories, family history, artifacts, historical and environmental information, and also information about the industry in our area.
This is glass cullet, scrap from when they make the glass. Now they reuse this. When they make a new batch of glass, there's a certain percentage of cullet they put in and remelt it. Not only does it reuse the waste, but it allows them to melt the glass at a lower temperature, so they save money in making the glass.
So the guy takes and he cuts a bullet up, carves a hole in the middle of it, and there's his fishing sinker. So he goes down, fishes the South Branch of Potomac at night, brings home a dozen catfish, and they're all happy, you know. So he's got something to eat besides porcupine.
I'm gonna walk you up the trail now and stop in some places in the trail and tell you some different kinds of trees and show you some things.
What we've done is, over the last couple of weeks also with Mr. Riding, everyone had to create an insect collection, correct? And all insects live on land, correct? Wrong. All insects don't live on land, otherwise I wouldn't be standing in the middle of the creek with a pair of boots on. Okay, because what we're going to show you today is some insects that live in the creek.
The reason that this is a young forest, many of you folks are too young to realize, or too young, actually don't remember, but what happened here in 1985 had a big influence on what this forest looks like today. And how many of you know what happened in 1985? Yes, what is it?
Tornado.
Exactly. A tornado came through here and blew down a forest that was actually somewhat of a mature forest that looked a lot different than this forest today.
In their final walk, students were asked how people have changed the land.
Thing you saw today on the walk?
I think the most interesting thing I saw was Mr. Kepler and the organisms and how they lived in the creek.
Hello, I'm Eric Bray
And Colin Olson.
and our partner Philip Engelken. We would like to take you to the Kane Country Club golf course.
Kane Country Club is located 3 miles west of Kane on Route 6 and is enjoyed by many families in the area.
Once the family has a membership at the club, then you can go out there and golf at any age. As long as you're with a parent, you can go out and golf. I know they take the kids out when they're 5, 6 years old and let them try to hit the ball. Okay, once we get to high school, I'm the golf coach, and what I'd like to see the kids do is play a little bit in middle school. They cannot compete in middle school. However, when they get to be in 9th grade, then they can try out for the team.
Hi, I'm Amanda Zampona, and this is Tara Bernecki and Angela Doherty, and we're filming businesses around Kane where our friends and family work.
First, let's go to Flickerwood Road to visit Amanda's grandparents' new winery.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Pana of Flickerwood Wine Cellars, and this is our wine tasting area and gift shop.
There's everything from t-shirts and caps to wine and glasses to specialty gift baskets. Pressed juices from the Lake Erie area are dumped into these tanks, then fermented and filtered, refined, and cold stabilized. The wine is then pumped into the bottles and corked and capped and taken upstairs to be labeled. On to Bell's Meat and Poultry, where you can buy fall flowers, pumpkins, and peppers by the bushel. Also, pears and plums, steaks and chops, and fresh corv. Inside, Norm cuts up some beef at the butcher block, then wraps up steak for somebody's dinner. Jack Bell, the store's owner, isn't working today since he's probably at a Bass Masters tournament. Besides steak and chops, Jack sells Swedish korv and smoked kibasi, traditional foods for the Swedish and Slovenian community. Moving on to Walt Klopp's Woodcraft Store, where you can buy locally made woodcraft products and supplies. And even a windmill. Let's move on to Quality Markets. Local teenagers often work here part-time as cashiers, shelf stackers, or baggers. Today, Tara's sister Tiffany takes care of one of the many customers on a busy Tuesday afternoon. Customers stop by Kane Liquid Fuel for gas, kerosene, and propane. Finally, Kane Magnetics, where Angela's dad helps to make magnets for cars and home appliances, from windshield wipers and airbag sensors to refrigerators and water meters.
My name is Vanessa Smith, Hannah Eastman, Sarah Hall, Katie Danielson. Sports plays an important role in the Kane community.
How do you like playing for the Kane Tornadoes?
I think it's a great experience. I'm going to be playing in the future a lot, and it's really fun here.
What do your coaches usually tell you before you go out and play a game?
Try your hardest, do your best, and just have fun. This is my first year of being a Kane Tornado. I hope to be playing in the future a lot more.
Mike, do you like playing for and representing the KMS football?
Yeah, I think it's a good program and it teaches us discipline.
Do you feel that it is important to have a Kane Middle School football team?
Yeah, it helps us keep our grades up and it gives us more spirit and it helps us with experience for when we move up to the high school.
Josh Anderson plays golf for the Kane High School.
How does it feel to be one of the golfers from Kane to go to states?
It's an honor. Only one other guy that I know has gone to states, and I was the first one to win districts, so it's an honor, and I hope to bring home a medal.
So Josh, do you feel that States is going to be a good experience for you and others?
Yes, I do. It's any tournament's a good experience, and States is just another stepping stone. It's what you practice your whole life, and this is what it's all about.
Do you think having a Kane area high school golf team is important for you?
Yes, it's important for the town.
Tasha and Lynn practice behind the middle school in preparation for an upcoming cross-country meet.
I have
Pat Carney and Joe Sackler.
They play for the high school soccer team. So Pat, do you feel that soccer is an important sport in Kane?
Yes, I do, because it gives a variety of choices of sports like football, cross-country, golf, and soccer.
Okay. So Joe, how does it feel to be in the playoffs?
Well, it feels pretty good because most of the team is made up of freshmen, and it just goes to show how good we'll be in the future.
The girls' soccer team practices daily in the fall. The high school volleyball team scores a point against a visiting team. The community joins the cheerleaders in support of our basketball players.
I'm Melissa Guido.
And I'm Trisha Vanneman.
And I'm Melissa Punk. We covered the mayor and the Kane Borough Police Department.
Between October when we filmed and tonight when you are watching this show, a lot of changes have taken place in our borough.
The biggest change is the unfortunate death of our mayor, Edgar Jesse James, who has been our mayor for 34 years. Even though he is no longer our mayor, we would still like you to meet him.
Well, I've been Mayor Kane for 34 years, and I have 4 children and 11 grandchildren. I wanted to have something to do in what happened here in their behalf.
We asked Mayor James about some of the major events that occurred when he was mayor.
Well, naturally, the one that's most important was the tornado in 1985, of which I was in charge of the recovery as mayor.
Mayor James helped rebuild the town after the tornado of 1985 by spending almost 3 months of unselfish time away from his business, organizing the emergency management system that cleaned up our community. He took the situation in hand and spent every day for 3 months managing the people, saving the taxpayers thousands of money, and organizing the relief effort to get everybody back in their homes as quickly as possible.
The other thing was 20-some years ago when we invoked the curfew. We had to change it because at first it was 18 and it was including the college kids home on vacations and everything, so we moved it back to 17.
Mayor James was Mr. Kane. He was an example of the community spirit. He loved Kane. Everybody knows Edgar wherever you go in the state because he always had good things to say about Kane and its people.
Standing with Mayor James in the last photo was our former police chief, William Yogi Osmer. He retired December 31st, 2000, but before he did, he told us a little about one of the newer members of the police department, Shadow.
We've gotten our drug dog, Shadow. The drug situation is still about the same. What we do is we use Shadow as our tool to help us find drugs when we're searching vehicles and when we're searching cars and homes. Shadow is considered a police officer, and Shadow does have a badge that is on his collar.
Officer Hillard is holding Shadow. He is in charge of Shadow's training.
Shadow can find marijuana, he can find methamphetamines, he can find heroin, he can find cocaine in any form. It depends on a dog, but the average time of training from the time you start until you get certified is usually around 3 months.
When Chief Osmer retired, Officer Larry Anderson was chosen to replace him. We asked him about the main challenges of his job.
The hardest part of my job is being in a small community. You know everybody, and sometimes it's difficult to do your job because the people that you have to arrest or the people you contend with could be relatives. They're good friends, you know everybody.
But he also told us what he would never change.
The thing that I wouldn't want to change about our police department is the closeness that we have between our men. We're only 5 men strong, and we're like family. We work together real close, and we can count on each other to back each other up, and I would never want to change the closeness that we have amongst ourselves.
Hi, I'm Amanda Blankenship, and these are my teammates Ashley Cochran and Aaron Bowen. We'd like to welcome you to Kane, the black cherry capital of the world.
Kane is located on the Allegheny Plateau, where the soil and climate are perfect for growing black cherry and other hardwood species.
Today we are going to show you a small part of the timber industry, which is a big part of life in Kane. First, let's go to Ashley's dad's mill.
Cochrans Lumber begins operating at 6 a.m. with trucks starting to arrive soon after. The logger sorts the logs by size and species as he unloads. These logs are beech, black cherry, oak, maple, and ash. Now sorted, the logs begin their transformation from trees to wood products. First, the logs must be debarked. Then they're positioned to be cut. And the sawing begins. The sawyer adjusts the saw's position by setting the cutting scale to the desired width of the board to be cut. The edgerman picks up the cut board and transfers it to the gang saw. The gang saw will trim the rough edges off the board, and it will be ready to be sorted and stacked. Scrap wood keeps going down the conveyor belt and into the chipper. The wood chips are made into sawdust for landscape, mulch, animal bedding, or fuel. Wade Cochran grades the cut boards and explains how black cherry got its start on the Allegheny Plateau.
Kane and the surrounding area is known for its black cherry because at the turn of the century they cut all the hemlock and pine down for the tanneries and mills, and they clear cut. And the shade intolerant cherry took off, and now our forest around here is predominantly cherry. This is an example of a cherry veneer 80 to 100 years old. That will go to a veneer company and be sliced for fine furniture.
Some of the boards leave Cochran's to go to Kane Hardwood's Dimension Mill, where specific wood products are manufactured. These boards are being marked and sent on their way to the Gray Con optimizing saw to be cut according to customer specifications. After being cut, the boards must be sorted according to size and purpose. These boards are being sanded to become dresser drawer fronts. Finally, they are shrink wrapped for shipping. Maybe someday they'll end up in your house.
I'm Callie. I'm Brittany.
And I'm Mallory.
And we're doing the Kane Cheerleaders.
Welcome to the Paul R. Miller Stadium, home of the Kane Wolves. And this is our camera-loving mascot, the Kane Wolf. This is where the story begins, with the Kane High Cheerleaders.
Mr. Nicholas, is it important to have cheerleaders at our athletic games?
Yes, I think it's very important. They do a lot of different things which drive up school spirit, and they really help out when the team is down. They can turn around a game and get the fans behind the players.
Here's how young kids get involved in cheerleading. Any student in kindergarten through 7th grade may join the squad.
Is it important to have cheerleaders at our athletic events?
Well, we cheer for all types of sports, and it brings the community and the athletes together to show team spirit.
The next step is trying out for the Kane Middle School squad.
We are the best. KMS. K. Pump it up. M. What up, S. We are the best. KMS.
This is our hard-working advisor. Right here is where most cheerleaders begin, as they join the Kane Middle School squad in its peppy cheers. someday, maybe little ones who cheer with our squads will end up on the Kane High School varsity squad, cheering our teams on to victory. Hello, my name is Joe Milstead. I live in James City, which is 3 miles south of Kane. As you observe me, I am standing on a mountain of broken glass, left over from what was once the world's largest glass plant. At the base of the mountain of glass is a pond.
This is the ruins of the James City glass factory.
In the 1930s, the Pittsburgh Glass Company purchased the plant and destroyed it for business purposes.
These are the fire furnaces where they burned the glass and shaped it. This is one of the old hallways in the James City Glass Factory, and it's about 50 yards long. This is the exit of the hallway.
Four-wheeling is one of the main ways to travel in James City.
Here's a four-wheeler trail where people like to ride their ATVs.
I hope you enjoyed my tour of James City. If you're ever in the area, stop by.
Hello, my name is Adam Wilson, and these are my teammates Ken Waters and Jeremy Eastman, and we videotaped the skating rink and the bowling alley.
This is Shirley Temple roller skating rink, and it used to be a movie theater. When you walk into the roller skating rink, you will meet the owner, Shirley James. The skating rink can be rented for roller skating birthday parties. You can rent skates or just go and hang out. They are currently open Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. There are time slots for Tiny's Tots as well as for open skating. Besides regular skating, there are also times when you have group skating, with songs such as the Chicken Dance, Limbo, and Macarena. Other than skating, you can hang out, play arcade games, and shoot pool in the game room.
There are 3 bowling alleys in the Kane School District. Today we're taking a look at the bowling alley that is in the Elks. Bowling is one of the activities that appeals to all age levels. Not only is it good exercise, but it also provides an indoor activity during the winter. Some of the area bowling alleys have leagues for people in all age groups. Another bowling alley in Kane is the Rose Bowl. The bowling alley in Mount Jewett is Kinsley Lanes. The bowling in Kane and Mount Jewett is a very often visited attraction. There are times for just kids, adults, or both combined. Also, all of the bowling alleys have electronic scorekeepers. They have bowling balls in all sizes to accommodate even the smallest players. They even rent bowling shoes there. The bowling alleys also have a snack bar area where hungry and thirsty bowlers can purchase beverages and snacks.
Hi, I'm Kyle Bray. These are my teammates here, Melissa Englert, Robert Schmidt. We're videotaping for the Kane Middle School classes.
The middle school was built in 1957. It started as a junior high but was changed to a middle school in 1984 with grades 6, 7, and 8. There are about 310 students today. We have some pretty interesting classes. Here are just a few of them.
Capital A marked on the back. I want you to take out a brown crayon.
We do a lot of fun projects in class. Making stained glass windows was one of my favorites.
You cut a piece out and put it in the envelope.
That one comes what? First, second, third. Second.
Mrs. Schultz also teaches 7th grade reading. We read Old Yeller together.
Read the next.
You can take Spanish in 7th grade and in 8th.
Formal Declaration of Independence.
All students take courses in math, English, science, history, social studies, geography, reading, and a choice of Spanish in 7th or 8th grade. Miss Cleveland also teaches a 7th grade English class. We also take industrial technology, music, computer lit, keyboarding, library, phys ed, health, art, and home ec as you see pictured here. Besides 7th grade English, Mr. Smith teaches computer lit and keyboarding.
This is our principal, Mr. Kepler. He helps us out if we have a problem. Our school secretary, Mrs. Anderson, is a big help too. This isn't a class, but if it was, some of us would definitely get A's.
Welcome to the Kane Community Hospital. We're the team of Brittany Nunn, Savannah Kohut, and Sean Gutschall. And here we are.
This is Bobby Anderson, a nurse at the Kane Community Hospital. What kind of challenges do the nurses face at the hospital in the ER?
We have a lot of challenges here. A lot of them are just minimal to begin with. What we do, we bring the patients in, we identify ourselves, we take their vital signs, we take a brief history, and then we inform the doctor of what's going on. We usually do all that. If the patient is in serious condition, if they're having a heart attack or a multiple trauma, we usually get the doctor here right away. But we're usually the first person the patient sees.
This is Dr. Hicken. What emergencies are the toughest to deal with?
I think for me, some of the toughest emergencies to deal with are the trauma, or things like motor vehicle accidents, hunting accidents. The reason for that would be you're dealing with a young, healthy person who has all of a sudden a potentially life-threatening problem.
This is Dr. Abbasi. On an average day, how many patients come into the emergency room?
Well, it varies, but on the average we see about 20 to 25 patients a day.
Oh, all right. What kind of emergencies do you usually see?
Well, living in a rural area, basically we see everything from car accidents, bike accidents, a lot of ATV accidents, and we also have some occasional drowning, hypothermia.
This is the clinical lab at Kane Community Hospital. This is Peg Figley. What is the most common blood type?
Most common blood type is O positive followed by A positive.
Oh. All right. About how many people get their blood taken each day, outpatient?
Okay, on any given day, we have between 35 and 40 outpatients who come in to be treated.
That's a lot of people.
Quite a few for rural hospital.
Has the technology changed any since you've been working here?
I've been a lab technician for 20 years, so it has changed considerably. We've gone from boiling test tubes to barcoded bidirectional interfaced instruments, computerized laboratory now. We have a state-of-the-art laboratory.
Hi, my name is Kevin Newford, and with me is Josh Lakanka. We're going to be telling you a little bit about Boy Scouting in Kane.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the
Boy
Scout
Scouting
law,
is a
to
chance for
help other
boys in the
people at
town
all
to get
times,
together to
keep
have
myself
fun,
physically
to learn
strong,
vital information,
mentally
and to
awake,
help the
and
community.
morally straight. If you come up to them and it looks at all like they had a head injury, don't move them around because
After Eagle Scout Bill Woodford's first aid demonstration, the Scouts get hand-on practice fixing Zach Hedrick's head injury, broken leg, and deep arm cut. Zach's a great volunteer victim, and we're happy to report he's fine today. Scouts also need to earn merit badges to gain rank. Two of them are shotgun shooting and rifle shooting. Life Scout Rob Christian hit the target bullseye many times. Doing a good turn daily is the Scout slogan. Here at Elk Lake Scout Reserve in Smethport, the Scouts are working to clear a new program area for summer camp. About 7 trees are being cleared to make way for a new Scoutcraft area. The Scouts clear the cut logs and pile them for future use as firewood during Scout activities like the Klondike Derby and camping.
Look at the fire.
First, piling the cut logs, then burning the branches, then raking the work area where the trees had fallen. After a long morning's work, the Scouts build up a huge hunger. Roast pork hit the spot. Inside the dining hall to enjoy the feast and talk with friends. And outside again to warm up by the fire. At the end of the day, the Scouts hang out with their buddies. Having done their good turn for the day, and having had fun with their friends, the Scouts leave camp tired but feeling good about themselves and their service.
I'm Caitlin Newfer.
And I'm Ashley Nix.
And I'm Tesla Moore, and we covered different means of communication in our area.
Hi, Chuck. Whoops, Mr. Krause.
Is WMI considered a local radio station?
Yeah, we mean to be as local as we possibly can be. Our coverage reaches out about 30 miles from Kane, and our goal is to be as local as possible to the people who live in that 30-mile radius.
And this is our favorite announcer. We're off to the elementary schools.
We try to keep the parents informed with dates of things that are going to be happening. We put a lot about student achievements and just special days we have here at the school.
What is the name of your paper?
The Chestnut Chatter.
Well, as principal, I feel it's important that we send out a newsletter to parents and to students so that they know the happenings of the school.
Kane Middle School newspaper, which is called the Wolf's Cry.
We need to get a newspaper out by the 7th of February. First, we have, what do you want your Valentine to give you? Anybody want to do that one?
Mrs. Smith's the advisor.
And this is some of the Wolves Cry staff.
Everyone enjoys the wolves cry.
What kind of articles are in the middle school messenger?
The current articles in this month's messenger are about our achievement testing program, upcoming open house, National Junior Honor Society, and many of the great things that are going on in our classrooms.
Mrs. Miller keeps us informed about the enrichment program. And we also have a district newspaper. Here are the High Life editors.
Along with the other editors, we assign articles to each of the student reporters, and when we get the articles back, we edit them and then put them in the layout form.
The High Life advisor.
And now we're off to the Kane Republican. Come inside and meet the publisher and staff. What are the reporters?
Is it a local newspaper?
Yes, we are a local daily afternoon newspaper. We have been publishing since January 12th, 1894.
How many daily newspapers do go out?
Every day we send 2,750 papers out. Every day, Monday through Saturday.
Over and out.
Hi, I'm Ashley Bell.
And I'm Zach Dace.
And I'm Robert Wyman. We're in Ludlow, Pennsylvania.
A small village 9 miles west of Kane on Route 6.
There's many things you can do in a village like Ludlow, even though it's small, if you look for them.
A creative kid like Karen Harlan might paint a shed. Kids who like sports might play basketball on Olmsted Manor's tennis court. Kids of all ages can discover something to do at Wildcat Park. Let's find out a little bit more about how this awesome park got started.
Well, it was a community effort by a lot of volunteers in the Olmsted family and a couple of more families in town. And it was built with volunteer labor quite a few years ago, before my time.
How long have you been associated with Wildcat Park?
Almost my entire life. I almost grew up in the park. I used to go up there when I was young, and I used to work up there. Probably the first time I worked up there when I was 10 years old.
What do people do when they come down to Wildcat Park?
Well, there's a number of things over the years. There used to be ball games there. At one time they had horse shows there. And of course today is family reunions. And we used to have Ludlow Day there, which was kind of a carnival atmosphere, and we've had Indian powwows there. Baseball was there for years. It was kind of a semi-pro baseball team. It was called the Ludlow Wildcats.
Years ago, the Olmsted children could bowl on the 3rd floor of their house. Let's find out a little bit more about Olmsted Manor. When was the manor built?
The manor was built by George Olmsted and his wife, Iva Catherine Olmsted, in 1916 and 17. So it actually took a whole year to build.
What goes on at the manor now?
Presently, we're an adult retreat center with our roots in the Methodist Church, and it's a place that people come for overnight retreats, continuing education, spiritual formation experiences, and sometimes just to have meetings for churches and other organizations.
Are there any jobs for kids here?
We hire a number of young people from 14 years of age and older, often to work in the kitchen and on the grounds, and we're glad to help them serve the people that come to Olmsted Manor.
I told you there were things to do in Ludlow if you looked for them. This is Ashley Bell signing off from Ludlow.
Hello, my name is Andrew Grissom, and my teammates are Jason Eastman and Zach Brinkley. Our mentor is Mrs. Hausen. We had the opportunity to visit 4 of our local artists.
Jason Eastman had the opportunity to visit Rocky Holland, our wildlife photographer.
I'm a wildlife photographer, and I've been doing wildlife photography in this area for about 30 years. I've lived in this house all my life, and I've developed a little studio here, as you can see, and this is some of my pictures I've taken. I've done wildlife photography in Elk County, McKean County, and the Allegheny Reservoir area for, like I said, about 30 years, and this is some of the images I've gotten through the years. The polar bears, maybe you can see them in the background. They were taken up in Canada last year. I had a chance to go to Churchill, Canada to photograph polar bears. But 98% of all my wildlife photography is right in this area.
This is the Old Baptist Church, which is now Dennis Driscoll's studio.
I love all the paintings that I've done. Every one of them in a way is a part of you because you pour your dreams, your thoughts, and your ideas into it. And probably my favorite painting has yet to be painted, and hopefully it might be the one I start later today.
We are now in front of Anderson's studio. Zach Brinkley got the chance to interview Miss Anderson.
Is there any painting you really liked?
There's one up there of a dog that I used to have. My blind series I like. There's a lot that they're tough to let go of, but sometimes people want them so much and so you sell them.
Our fourth and final artist is John Bloomquist. He is a potter.
I'm John Bloomquist, and this is Bloomquist Studios. I've been here for 30 years. I make pottery here most of the year, and when the weather gets real bad, I do some painting. And what I'm going to do here is I have a chunk of clay, and I'm going to throw what we call throwing a pot. This is my wheel, and that's the only throwing there is to it. The rest is making the pot. And the first part and the hardest part is to center the clay.
After Mr. Bloomquist centers the clay, he makes a hole down through the middle.
Okay.
Next, Mr. Bloomquist pulls the clay up to create a tall pot. When the pot is tall enough, Mr. Bloomquist gives it shape. This is his finished project.
I'm Shirley Steffi.
I'm Allison Puditeri.
And I'm Tasha Mattis.
One of the people we are especially proud of here in Kane is our Olympian, Amy Rudolph.
This fall, she competed for her second time in the Olympics. She runs the 5,000 meter race.
Unfortunately, she got the flu before her race, so she didn't run as well as she hoped, but we're still proud of her. In fact, our mayor declared October 29, 2000 to be Amy Rudolph Day.
Here are some of the highlights of Amy Rudolph Day.
This is a special day.
This is Amy Rudolph Day. And if you think I'm not proud, you have to be out of your mind. I was really proud. And then I saw her going down the street in the car, and I went, oh, I don't know, Lord, don't let this heart stop now, baby. I love this moment. When she was about 5th or 6th grade, she used to run in the track meets up at the high school. And we'd ask, the other coaches, can Amy run with the other kids? And they go, oh, sure, no problem. And then we'd have to tell them about the third lap. Now remember, the girl in front, she doesn't count. She's just running an exhibition.
Amy Rudolph is one of a kind. She's worked so hard to get where she is today because of her work ethic, her commitment, her motivation. That's an example to every young and old athlete in the town of Kane. We honor Amy Rudolph, yes, for what she's done, but there's a lot of people here today that are honoring her for who she is.
She's dedicated. She's worked extremely hard to become the type of runner that she is. There's been injuries. There's been illness. There's been times where she's passed out racing. And she still keeps coming back and coming back. Why? Because she loves to compete and she loves to run. She has the heart of a champion. You don't teach it. You don't coach it. She has it.
When I got your letters and cards and emails in Australia, I read them all and I carried them with me as I ran the race. But when I was done and I was disappointed and upset, I went back and I read all those. And the inspiration and the love that you guys showed me was amazing. It was awesome, and it got me through a really hard time, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I've gotten to travel all over the world, and I've met a lot of people, and I've been to a lot of places. But there's nothing like coming back to home, coming back to Kane, Pennsylvania. I'm very proud to be from here, and you all should be very proud to be from here. I love coming home and coming and seeing all of you. I just want to encourage all of you to dream your dreams and never say never. And whatever you want to do, you can do it. Just put your mind to it.
Hello, I'm TJ Powell, and this is Carson Kepler and
Logan Anderson.
And we're going to take you on a tour of the Allegheny National Forest.
The 513,000-acre Allegheny National Forest was established in 1923. The motto, Land of Many Uses, captures the forest goal of a healthy forest that provides the world's finest black cherry, watershed protection, wildlife habitats, and recreation opportunities for us today and future generations.
Well, the North Country Trail was established by Congress in 1980. The hope is that the trail will go for 3,100 miles, starting in New York State and eventually going through New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, and we'll end up in North Dakota. We're now standing in an Allegheny National Forest on National Forest land. The trail covers about 90 miles through the Allegheny National Forest from the New York border to roughly Cook Forest State Park south of here.
In the Kane Experimental Forest, these buildings, a lot of them were constructed, I believe, back in the 20s and maybe the 30s, and the United States Forest Service comes out here periodically to do different types of experiments on the hardwood trees in this area. They'll set up different plots and run certain studies, and I guess that helps them to come up with an idea of how the forest is as far as its health goes. Through here is one of my favorites. It's part of the Mill Creek drainage, and it's an area that the Forest Service back in 1985, when they were making their long-term plans, designated as pretty much an area only for hiking, biking, cross-country skiing. It's a non-motorized area, and there's a lot of wildlife back through here, a lot of clear cuts that contain many different species of animals.
This is the Timberline ATV Trail. The trail is 38 miles long and is one of the easiest riding trails in the National Forest. The trail opens Friday before Memorial Day until September 24th and reopens December 20th to April 1st. The trail stretches from Beulah Corner to Russell City and connects with the Marionville ATV Trail at Pig's Ear.
I'm Nikki Wheatley.
I'm Christy Skalski. I'm Kayla Oliva.
And we're doing area churches and community theater.
Children and adults alike are very active in our community's churches. Kids our age participate in Sunday school, youth groups, vocal and handbell choirs, and service projects such as litter, pickup, and raking leaves. Our congregations are also active in delivering Meals on Wheels, supporting the food pantry and the crop walk, and raising money for mission projects. In addition, the clergy organizes non-denominational community services for Thanksgiving and Good Friday.
In addition to marrying and burying, I feel that our churches provide the spiritual background for the communities. In some cases, such as disasters, like we had several years ago when one of our local police officers was shot, the churches play a very important role. Also in this community, a number of our pastors belong to the volunteer chaplains at the hospital. And as a result, we are called out in case of emergency by the hospital to be there to minister to families.
I'm here in front of the Kane Presbyterian Church, and inside, the Kane players are rehearsing.
Moses was a simple man, no different than
One local actress, Beth Lenaway, has written a one-woman drama and has performed it throughout the United States. It is called Mary and is the story of Jesus told through his mother's eyes.
We were on our way to Buffalo, and I thought to myself, gosh, wouldn't it be neat if somebody would write a musical about Jesus? Mary could tell the story of Jesus because she was the only one that was there throughout his whole life.
Beth is also the director of our theatrical group, the Kane Players. They are practicing their upcoming musical, It's a Wonderful Life. This performance is special because Olivia Hartman, Kane Players co-founder, is returning to the stage for an astounding performance as Clarence the Clockmaker.
Kane Players started in 1974. At the time I was teaching theater arts at the Kane Senior High, and a former student who was attending Penn State came home for summer vacation and said, let's have a summer theater, and so we did. Over the years, we've done more than 70 productions, and we've used people in every age, from 2 to 75 years of age.
one wondrous, two so dear, three George, a wonderful life. Okay, we're going to take that because we've never done it ever before.
Hi, I'm Mike Gage in the foreground here on the stream with Paul Eastman and Tim X. We're going to show you what we like to do in the fall. The early fall trout season is a good time to go fishing and enjoy the colors. Let's go to one of our favorite spots. The stream at Guffey is a branch of the Kinzu Creek, which is usually a hot spot for fish. Patience is a virtue while fishing, and it often pays off. Another place you could find us is in the fields around Kane, hunting small game such as rabbits, squirrels, grouse, and pheasants. Today we are hunting for pheasants with the help of Mr. Kepler's dog Sam, who points the birds and then retrieves them when we're successful. Sam's now on the run, and back again for another try. Later in the fall comes archery season, when it's time to put away the blaze orange and get out the camel, pack our bows, and wait in tree stands for our trophy whitetail. A good way to find where the deer are is to scout local fields after dark with a spotlight. Hi, my name is Jen D'Angelo, and these are my partners, Jesse Nelson and Amanda Brinkley, and we taped Uptown Kane, Fraley Street businesses and restaurants.
In the past year, we've had over a dozen new businesses open in our own community here in Kane, and several of those are right on Fraley Street. A couple years ago, if you would have walked up our main business district or driven by, you may have noticed several storefronts were empty. There were businesses had closed and such, but we've had almost all of those filled now, which is really exciting. And it kind of shows a trend in our business community that folks are taking and making an investment in their community by starting a business, which is really exciting. I'm also very excited about the projects that are happening on Fraley Street as far as the building improvements, which will make folks want to stop and take a look. You know, if the building fronts look nice and there's trees and the like, people are more likely to stop as they're driving on Route 6. People stop in the chamber office here for information on tourism. We have relocation packets. People call if they're thinking about moving into the area, and I mail those off to folks. And we also have new business startup information as well.
Kane has 11 local restaurants. They serve a variety of food. 3 of the restaurants serve Italian cuisine. Several are family restaurants serving all sorts of American dishes. There is also a Chinese all-you-can-eat buffet and several fast food restaurants.
So the Texas Hot started in 1914. It got into the Bachacas family in 1928. My dad operated it until 1967. In 1967, Terry and John Bachacas took over the business. My brother and I were in partnership till 1989. After that, which I purchased this building here and the building next door. And my sons came into the business, and little by little we expanded it.
We do a little bit of everything, and we are increasingly more into home health care, oxygen, and beds and walkers and wheelchairs and things of that nature now, along with our computerized pharmacy end.
The third weekend in July, Kane holds the Black Cherry Festival because we are known as the Black Cherry Timber Capital of the world.
Hi, I'm Michelle Kane with Taryn McGue and Emily Olson at the Kane Middle School, and we're going to tell you a little about our clubs and organizations. Let's start with Science Olympiad.
Science Olympiad is an intramural competition.
What kind of events are there in the competitions?
Some of the events are written events, such as the Reach for the Stars, where one part is done in a planetarium where you need to write down the names of constellations, stars, and deep sky objects. And the second part is a written test in which you have to understand the solar system and things such as the HR diagram.
And Science Crime Busters, where you have to name powders and fingerprints and figure out crime scenarios.
Another event is Get Your Bearings, an orienteering event in which the students seen here are using compasses to find their way around a course. During the bi-weekly meetings, the 40 elected members of the Student Council discuss and decide upon the events to be sponsored. Some of this year's events include drives for Habitat for Humanity, Toys for Kids, the local food pantry, and the 3 school dances. The council fundraisers this year are t-shirt sales and after-school candy sales.
It's gonna be nice to ride the bus.
Selection into National Junior Honor Society is based on 5 different things: scholarship, service, leadership, character, and citizenship.
Members are required to do both group and individual service projects. Cleanup of the Uptown Business District was the first project of the year. The annual chess tournament involves about 40 students from all 3 grade levels.
The name of the game is careful analysis and a well thought out strategy. The 8th grade weightlifting club meets Monday, Wednesday, and Friday during afternoon homeroom. Today the guys are working on bench pressing and are waiting for Ashley to show them how it's done. And finally, the Kane Modelers Club, which meets every Wednesday to build models such as cars and airplanes, like this one that really does fly.
Hi, I'm Ashley O'Hara. And I'm Cassie Spicer. And I'm Jessica Rolls. And we're going to enter the world of dance at April School of Dance. Let's start by meeting April Cush.
What different kinds of classes do you have?
Okay, we have tap dancing, we have ballet, jazz, acrobatics, and point. Once a year we put on an annual show, which we do in June, and then throughout the year they do various programs for local festivals, Black Cherry Festival, and we also perform for some churches, old folks' homes.
Like all dance classes, acrobatics starts with stretching to warm up the muscles. Dance students can be as young as 4 years old, or as old as senior citizens. After learning the back bend, students learn how to move their hands, feet, and eyes together to do a back bend walk. Jessica helps students get into position, reminding them to keep arms and legs slightly bent, but not too close together.
Keep looking at the floor, where your hands are. Look at it.
Cassie's sister Megan takes both jazz and acrobatic classes. Today she gets some help from Jessica, who walks behind her to keep her from slipping. Learning to do cartwheels takes lots and lots of practice. Keeping your arms and legs straight and forming a V with your legs isn't as easy as it looks. Today's class ends with front walkovers. The students feel good about their workout and their progress. Now they are more than ready to relax.
I'm Angie Hannes, this is Jennifer Ferguson, and this is Doug Vanneman, and we're filming the Kane Community Center and the Kane Family Center.
Hi, my name is Mary Bloomquist, and I'm the program coordinator for the Kane Area Community Center. We have a project going now in the basement of where we're putting in a fitness center that will become the thing that will help us generate the money we need to keep this project going, and hopefully for years to come. We have set up 2 councils of kids, one from middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and one from high school, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. And they sort of come in and make the decisions for their own activity. Process now of having a lot of games brought in so that it might attract people that might not come in otherwise to play some video games. In the future, we hope to have a computer lab and a dark room and possibly a video room for kids to do studies in. We're averaging maybe 30 to 50 kids every day. Bring the kids in and give them jobs, let them work, give them a treat, and try to work an emotional bond with them so that they can come in and feel that this is their place and that they have to take care of it and enjoy it.
The Kane Family Center started in 1997. The Family Center has 2 clubs for middle school age kids. The 4-H club provides interesting activities for kids 8 to 18 years old. They meet weekly on Wednesdays.
The big ones, if you put one finger on, the little ones.
The teen chat is for grades 6 to 12. Here the groups share ideas and plans activities that are of interest to them. They meet weekly on Tuesdays. Here, Teen Chat is preparing for a Halloween party for kids ages 5 to 7.
Hi, I'm Jessie Carter. I'm Chelsea Lenaway. And I'm Kelly Sackwin. And we have been videotaping the Southover Park and Steve German Memorial Trail for WPSX TV. At the center of Southover Park is a monument dedicated to police officer Steve German by the citizens of Kane. Officer German was killed in the line of duty on February 20th, 1999, just yards from the entrance to the park. The flags you see around the monument are the American flag, the Dare flag, and the fallen officer flag. Officer German was a Dare instructor in the Kane schools. He was a special friend to a lot of kids. This beautiful park will always be a reminder of him. Hi, I'm Jessie Carter. I'm Chelsea Lenaway. And I'm Kelly Sackler. And we are interviewing Dane Peterson on the Steve German Memorial Trail. He was one of the students that made this very trail possible. We are now on Steve German Trail behind the Kane Middle School. Students and teachers from our school have worked very hard to make the trail possible. Because it connects with Southover Park Memorial, we decided to name the trail the Steve German Trail. Coming up the trail is Dane Peterson with mentor and teacher Mr. Riding. Who was Steve German to you?
Came to the school and with the Dare program to help kids learn about avoiding drugs and alcohol.
How did you come up with the name for the trail?
The trail goes down to Southover Park, which has a memorial for Officer Steve German, who was killed there in the line of duty. And I thought it would be nice if we could name it for him.
What are the future plans for the trail?
We hope to send someone to a borough council meeting and get their permission to extend it onto their property.
Officer German will be sadly missed, not only for his courage, but for his friendship, too.
My name is Michelle Singh. I'm Stephanie Kleiber. And I'm Amanda Blunt. We explore the libraries of Kane. We are at the Kane Middle School Library. We are here with Virginia Kelly and Tricia Vanderman. Ladies, what are the primary purposes you use the middle school library for?
I come here to do research and to look up facts for my homework.
I enjoy using the library to check out books for reading.
Libraries play an important role for the Kane community.
There's a lot of hard things that sometimes people don't see that go with the job of a librarian, but some of the greatest things are working with students, helping them to find books that they enjoy, teaching them how to find things in the library that will help them to learn about whatever topics they're interested in. The teachers really have a big variety of books that they love and like to continually share with boys and girls. The Judy Blume books are very popular with Super Fudge and Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. Fifth grade teachers love Gary Paulson's book, Hatchet, and Scrub Dog of Alaska. The students really love all the I Spy books. We never have an I Spy book on the shelf. They're always out.
The school librarian shares a book with her first graders.
And it grew. And it grew. And it grew some more. They pulled. They pulled and they tugged. And they pulled. And they pulled hard. And then they pulled harder. And
We interviewed Mr. Casey, the high school librarian.
I work real close with the teachers. And when they want to have a unit on a particular subject, for example, we had some of the social studies guys, they were doing reports on the westward expansion. And so we have a lot of books in that area, enough that all the students could use the books. And I try to make that a point of emphasis in my collection as far as what I buy. I know what the teachers teach, and as a result, I say what I buy backs up the curriculum. So that when students come to the library to find information, we have the material here. And they can come just to read magazines, on newspapers, look for books for 15 minutes at a time. However, if they're coming to do research, they're allowed to stay the entire period.
Friends Memorial Library was moved into this building in 1989. Friends Memorial Library has a variety of books and resources available for teens and adults. The library also has a junior and kiddie section for our younger readers. Technology is also in use at Friends Memorial.
Hello, my name is Kathleen Prosperi, and this is Adrian Lee and Sarah Johnson. Behind me is where General Thomas L. Kane is buried. He was born January 27, 1822. He died December 26, 1883. He was also a supporter of the Mormon pioneers.
Although Thomas L. Kane was not a Mormon, he supported them because they were persecuted for their practice of polygamy. The Mormons' churches and homes were burned, forcing them to travel towards Salt Lake City.
They were accused of pulling away from the government, so the Army was sent. Thomas Kane took a boat to the Panama Canal into California, traveling under the name Dr. A. Osborne, riding on horseback to Utah. He reached Utah before the Army. He convinced the Army that the issue was religious freedom, not disloyalty to the government. The Army returned to Washington, D.C. The Mormons appreciated Kane's friendship so much they named a county after him in Utah. I'm standing in front of a statue of General Thomas L. Kane. This is a replica of the one standing in the Capitol building in Salt Lake City, Utah. The Kanes were a family of explorers and pioneers in a variety of ways. General Kane's son, Dr. Evan O'Neill Kane, removed his own appendix February 14, 1921, as an early test of patient awareness when under local anesthesia.
In addition to the Memorial Chapel, we also covered the Kane Middle School's music programs. Concert band directed by Mr. Sean Hoffman and orchestra and chorus directed by Ms. Tara Martz.
Many of the musicians you will see began to develop their talents in elementary school music programs and will continue to do so through high school.
Funding for Our Town Kane, the Kids Cut, was provided by AHUG, the Allegheny Hardwood Utilization Group, and its local member companies, promoting forest management principles to provide for wildlife, recreation, and wood products for the whole community. From Kane Community Hospital, a plane tree hospital serving McKean, Elk, Forest, and Warren counties with personal, professional, and progressive health care. Kane Community Hospital is proud to be a part of Our Town Kane, the Kids Cut. Additional funding was provided by grants from PSEA, the Pennsylvania State Education Association, the Kane Area Teachers Association, and the Cleveland Endowment, and by the annual financial support of viewers like you. Thank you.